good, Commanders fans, and happy Friday. First preview video of the regular season. Man, I can't wait for Sunday at 1 o'clock, man. I cannot wait. It's going to be lit, man. First game of the season. Should be nice weather, too, man. Should be nice weather. So, of course, we saw CeeDee Lamb drop 4 passes last night to start the NFC East, to start the season off. And a lot of people, and I don't want to get on a tangent about this, but I've seen a lot of discourse on social media people who say CD is so much better than Terry. He's on this different level. He's in a different tier and all this stuff. Like when we had the conversation about should he get CD money, I didn't agree that he should get 34 mil or 35 like Justin Jefferson and Jamar or even CD. CD's getting like 34, I think. But to say that CD is just so much better than Terry is just really disrespectful in my opinion. Like Terry would never drop 4 passes in a game. The most I think I've seen a career high of drops in a game is probably 2, maybe 1, and that's it. But CD had hands like a snake, butter hands. Like he was literally catching the ball and throwing it in the air, like to almost throw like he just didn't want the football. Like he was allergic to catching the football, throwing up in the air, and gave the Eagles opportunities to get interceptions with those too. So I will say Dak had a hit. Dak actually played like regular season. Dak is a good quarterback. When he gets to the playoffs, that's when he shrivels up and shrinks. Jalen Hurts was fine. It is what it is. You know, he always does what he has to do. He's a game manager. He's Alex Smith. But I just wanted to chime in on that. I did because people were slandering Terry's name during the whole contract thing and saying CD was so much better than him. Justin Jefferson, Jettas, and all those guys. And Jamar and Justin are better than him. But to say CD is just leaps and bounds better than Terry, in my opinion, was a little far-fetched, was a little too much for my liking. But all right, let's get back to our game. So as we all, if you know my previews, how they go every year, this is what my 6th or 7th year doing Commanders content. So cheers to that for sure. Cheers to that. Cheers for another year of Commanders content. Got to show all the cups. Got to show the ring off as well. Shout out to Mr. Pink for the NFC Championship 1972 ring. But so we'll go with storylines. So we'll get the storylines out the way. So the storylines really, Andrew Thomas, we're waiting on that news today. Noah Brown is going to play per Dan Quinn, which is great. John Jones is going to play. The history with the Giants, we have to get Russell Wilson back for doing that little celebration, like the Antonio Brown dance or whatever it was when we lost to the Steelers when Johnny Newton jumped off sides. So we have to get revenge on Russ for that. Storylines, Brian Dable, you know, he didn't put the kicker out there last year. They had an inactive kicker, or they didn't put 2 kickers or whatever the situation. They lost that game, the first game. We won with all field goals, then we beat them handily. We controlled the whole game, basically 27-22. Brian Dable, he loves Jaden Daniels, as we saw in the pre-draft process with the interview, having him draw up a play, and he loved Jaden's answer. Malik Neighbors loves Jaden Daniels, so we know we're going to see a lot of cameos with those guys on the sideline, kikiing and giggling and stuff like that. We are going to see that on Sunday, so be prepared for that. Also, will Bill be inactive? And then Tyler Biadasz, my notes really for this game is Tyler Biadasz has never lost against Dexter Lawrence. Like a lot of people are concerned about Dexter Lawrence, but Tyler Biadasz has gotten the best of Dexter Lawrence, his matchups with the Cowboys and his matchups last year, the 2 games, Tyler Biadasz got the best of Dexter Lawrence in those games. So you got to keep an eye on that for sure. All right, so let's go through the injury report, and then we'll get the keys to victory. Then I always remember when Joe Shane, I think that's their GM's name, his son was like, please get Jaden Daniels, please get Jaden Daniels in the Hard Knocks documentary. And he was telling them to do that, but of course they just didn't get the second pick of the draft. But all right, injury report is Andrew Thomas. They're going to come out with that today. I'm making this before they announce the news. He did not participate on Thursday. Personally, I don't think he's going to play, but you just never know. He just started practicing 10 days ago in training camp, and he just started doing team drills on, yesterday, Wednesday? Before our side, Dorrance is going to play. He was limited. Noah Brown's going to play. John Jones is going to play. Matt Gay had an illness. So we need him to show up. And he's going to be one of my keys to victory. We need him to show up on Sunday. Not just making kicks, but also on just kicking the ball for the kickoffs. Like, he didn't do a great job of that, or he was experimenting during preseason. Marcus Mariota, Achilles full, so he'll be playing as our backup. Hopefully he doesn't have to come in at all. So very small injury report, which is good on both sides. You know, so it's the first game of the season, so that's how it typically goes. But all right, so let's get to the preview. Of course, one of my first keys to victory is something that I want to bring up on the Sleeper app. So I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Sleeper. I want to get a quick word in from them. What's good, Commanders fans? Just want to give you guys a great deal with the promo code Oliver for Sleeper. Make sure you guys check out the Sleeper app. First time users, you get 100% deposit match up to $100 for your first time using Sleeper. Sleeper is a great fantasy app for all sports, especially the NFL, for more or less on player projections. You pick the more or less on the projections, like Terry McLaurin. Receptions, you can pick the more on that for 4.5 receptions on Sunday against the Giants. I'm taking more on that. And they also have great deals. Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, they have free squares, more than half a passer. They're going to step on the field and get that. So make sure you guys check out Sleeper. Also on Sleeper, you have a chance to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football on Sleeper. Check it out. Terms and conditions apply. So the pick, like I said, I'm giving you for you guys on Sleeper is Terry McLaurin, more than 4.5 receptions, and then take the free square with Joe Burrow, more of a half a passing yard, which is just insane. It's just a great deal that they're giving. Free money, a free play that they're giving on Sleeper. Great deal. Terms and conditions apply on Sleeper. Like I said, first time users, 100% deposit match up to $100. Click on the link down below in the description and use promo code Oliver. Let's get back to the video. Peace. All right, so unfortunately we are 0-1. I picked Saquon to go more rushing yards last night, but let's bounce back with Terry McLaurin getting the 4.5 receptions. I think that, like, let me bring up the numbers on Terry McLaurin versus the Giants. I talked about this earlier this week, and I get it. Like, when I make my picks, of course, you got to look at the history of stuff like that, but sometimes it doesn't matter. But hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Terry McLaurin has played against the Giants 11 times, and he's gotten more than 4.5 receptions 9 out of 11 games versus the Giants. So history's on our side. The one time he didn't get it was last year, where he had both his touchdowns. Both his catches were for touchdowns. So if you do want to take the anytime touchdown, the more on that too, you could definitely put that on there. That's something that he definitely does as well. He was only scored in 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 11 games versus the Giants, but I think the receptions is definitely a safe bet. Like, I think they want to go and target him, especially since you just paid him. Like, you're not going to pay him and do what we did last year, where they didn't target him in the first 3 or 4 games. It was like the first 2 games. And then the Bengals game, they finally started giving him the football, or Jaden and Terry were able to connect. So I think five receptions is pretty modest. Like, this is a low line that you're going to get for Terry. Like, you're not going to get 4.5 many times this year. You're just not. So I would take the more on that and book that and cash that for sure. All right, so keys to victory here. Target Terry, but for me is, of course, the offensive line. Like, Josh Connolly is going to be the biggest matchup. He's going to have the biggest matchup because he's a rookie. Like, Laramie Tunsil, I trust him. Tyler Biadasz, I trust him. Brandon Coleman, left guard, I'm intrigued to see how he plays, but I trust him as well. I'm not saying I don't trust Josh Connolly, but of course you want to see the matchup, like him versus Brian Burns, him versus Thibodeau, him versus Abdul Carter, who he had a really good matchup, and he won that matchup in college, but he was at left tackle. So how does he do at right tackle? Andrew Wiley, Nick Allegretti's supposed to start at right guard, or Andrew Wiley, so they may be doing a platoon. Does Cliff do a swap with Wiley and Connolly throughout the game like they did with Brandon Coleman and Cornelius Lucas last year? Like, a lot of people disagree with me. I think they're going to do a switcheroo kind of thing, but a lot of people think that Connolly is just going to play 100% of the snaps. I actually think that Wiley may get some of the right tackle snaps, but George Fant is right behind Josh Connolly, so I don't think they're going to do a switch thing with George Fant. I think if they do a switch thing, it would be like more with Andrew Wiley. But I do want to see that matchup. Are they going to chip? I don't think they're going to double anybody. I really don't. They may chip on Connolly's side, if anything, but you're not going to chip on Laramie Tunsil's side. Like, you're not doing that. You didn't trade picks to chip for Laramie Tunsil. You're going to leave Laramie Tunsil on his side and just let him dominate and do what he's supposed to do. So if they chip, like they chip with Brandon Coleman a lot on Myles Garrett, which is understandable. Same thing with Trey Hendrickson last year, which is understandable because they're just such top-tier pass rushers last year. And those guys were radio silent for the most part. Trey Hendrickson was radio silent. So that's why I'm really just not concerned about the Giants' pass rush as much as everybody else is. Like, I get the concern, but at the same time, to me, like, I can name 5 top pass rushers that were radio silent. Like, Myles Garrett was radio silent. Kayvon Thibodeau was radio silent last year against us. Brian Burns, radio silent. Like, 0 pressure, 0 sacks type silent. Like, that's how silent. Trey Hendrickson, I didn't hear his name until, the third quarter when we beat the Bengals on Monday Night Football. And a lot of that's because of Jaden Daniels. It's because of Cliff Kingsbury's play calling. And the offensive line stepped up last year. They did. And for the most part, until really like the later part of the year when Tyler Biadasz got hurt. But just the way that Jaden plays football, it just makes it hard on the pass rush, man. It just does. You can't hit what you can't catch. And that's why I'm just not as concerned as everybody else. Like, I respect their defensive line. And if you look at last year, too, I get it. It's last year. But Cliff was toying with their defense. Like the no-look pass to Austin Eckler, the nice pass to Noah Brown over the middle, and then the second game, the pass to OZ to end the game, the pass to Noah Brown to really solidify that last drive. We were running the football. And one thing I want to see their pass rush do, or their defensive line do, since everybody's hyping them up so much, can they stop the run? They were awful against the run last year. They were awful. We were bad against the run too, don't get me wrong. But they were bad against the run. They were just as bad as us. They were ranked 26 last year in yards allowed per game. And they were also ranked like bottom 10 in rush yards per carry allowed. They were 24th in yards per carry allowed. So Abdul Carter, you saw he got pushed around in preseason. Yes, he did a good job in preseason. But the way he got pancaked in that one game against the Jets, that's something that I feel like we can definitely do to Abdul Carter as well. So they got to prove to us that they can slow down our run game. Now, Austin Eckler, I would give the majority of the carries. Of course, you want to see Bill get a bunch of carries. But I think it should be split between C-Rod and Bill. That's just how I feel about this run game. I do feel like Jaden's going to lead the team in rushing tomorrow on Sunday. But there's going to be a lot of times, like you saw Jalen Hurts last night. I think Jaden's going to have to do a lot of that too. And that's fine. Like, that's just what he does. You know, I think he's going to get at least 60 rushing yards on Sunday for sure. There's going to be some times where plays just break down, where he's just going to make something shake, make something happen. Like, I could definitely see him running for a touchdown as well. But I do want to see him use his legs to throw the ball like he did last year a lot, improvising, making plays to Terry, making plays to other receivers. Keep his eyes downfield, which he got way better with throughout the season. At first, that Buccaneers game, he was just running to run, but throughout the season, he started running to pass. Like you saw the Browns game, where he threw that beautiful pass to Terry, where Terry got hawked now. There's just a lot of examples I can bring up for sure that he did. Up-tempo game, no huddle. Tire these guys out. Tire Thibodeau out. Tire Dexy out. Tire Dexter Lawrence out. Make these guys tired, man. Tire these guys out with our up-tempo, no-huddle, quick offense. Just like we did on Monday night against the Bengals. We scored in, what, 2 minutes? Literally 2. It was a minute and 22 second or 2 minute and 22 second drive. Like, you saw how easy that drive was. Get the ball to Terry and Debo often and early. Use Debo in the run game, too. Use Debo in the red zone as well. I want to see him as a weapon as well. Noah Brown calls pass interferences. That's one of the things that I'm looking for. And then target Deontay Banks and their other corner. I think his name is like Cordell Flott or something like that. That's his name. Yeah, Cordell Flott is his name. Target those guys. And Paulson Adebo is solid, but he's not locking anybody down. Yes, they have Javon Holland. They have good players. They do. But their second corner is going to be their weakness. Target Deontay Banks. Go right at him and go right at Cordell Flott. Go right at those guys often and early. Get the ball out quickly. Screen game. We already know what Cliff's going to do. Terry's gotten better in the screen game. We just got to block better in the screen game like we did against the Lions last year. Got to do that. No false starts at home, guys. We should have a home field advantage. One of the things I'm sorry to bring up last year, but one of the things that hurt us in that 21-18 win, we should have won by more. We had so many false start penalties in the red zone. So many false starts, illegal motions, shifts, whatever. We got to be on the same page at home. We should be dominating that state. I know there's going to be a lot of Giants fans in there, of course, because it's an NFC East opponent. But we should not be having any false starts or anything, any mishaps like that. Laramie Tunsil definitely has to work on that from last year. Touchdowns, not field goals, red zone efficiency. I do want to see Jalen Lane get some touches. But that's about it, man. Establish the run game, whether it's with Debo, whether it's with Bill, whether it's with C-Rod, Eck, Jeremy McNichols, whoever's active on Sunday, establish a run game. And Jaden uses legs to and I want to see how many times we're going to go for it on fourth down. That's a big thing for me, too. We are a fourth down team. That is our identity. I don't see us regressing on fourth downs. I just don't. All right, defense. Pass rush versus Andrew Thomas or not. If he doesn't play, whoever their backup is, I think it's like M. Bow is his name. Jermaine Illuminar is their right tackle. Who else is their backup left tackle? James Hudson. So go right at those guys, man, if Andrew Thomas doesn't play. This is the stats without Andrew Thomas. Their record with Andrew Thomas is still bad. They're 6-10 with Andrew Thomas. They're 3-15 without Andrew Thomas. Also, their offense with Andrew Thomas, 19.4 points per game. Without Andrew Thomas, they average 12.3 points per game. So there's an update that I just got about Andrew Thomas as well on what's going to happen. Jordan Renan. Andrew Thomas, on whether he will play, we'll see. Took his first team reps of the year on Friday, which was today. He's currently managing pain and soreness. Will base his decision on risk of re-injury. So It's still a toss-up for Andrew Thomas, man. I don't think he's going to play. Regardless, we should still beat them, in my opinion, though. Ball is life. Let's take the ball away from Russell Wilson, man. Now, Russell Wilson, he doesn't turn the ball over much. That's one thing I will say about him. He does protect the football well. He doesn't, unless it's the moon ball, that's the only time he's really going to take a chance down the field. Be ready for the moon ball. Also, how are we going to guard Malik Neighbors? I would not have Marshawn Lattimore travel. I would not do that at all. I wouldn't have Trey Amos travel, of course. This is his first NFL game. But you have to shadow, you have to bracket. You may not double Malik, but you have to shadow and bracket coverage to his side. Now, we have way better corners than what we had last year. We were throwing out Michael Davis and guys like that on Malik Neighbors, which was just terrible. Like, even our backups are good enough. John Jones is going to give him a tougher game. Malik Neighbors is suffering from back tightness, but he's going to play. He's going to be 100%. So how do we guard Malik Neighbors? How do we keep him in check? That's going to be the biggest question mark. I would not have Marshawn Lattimore follow anybody this season at all. Marshawn, be smart on defense. No 15-yard penalties, no unsportsmanlike conduct or anything like that. Be smart. I get it. You want to get under people's gears and stuff, but be smart out there. Slow down the run game. Tyrone Tracy's a dog. He's really good. I like him a lot. He had a good season last year, 800 rushing yards. He had more rushing yards than B-Rob has ever had in his career so far as a rookie. And he had a solid game against us last year before we started controlling that game last year. So we have to slow down the run game. We have to make Russell Wilson beat us and sit in the pocket. Got to get that pass rush. Frankie Louvu, Dorrance, Javon Kinlaw, Daron Payne, Johnny Newton off the bench, Von Miller. I'm intrigued to see how he plays. I want to see him get a strip sack or force an interception, something. I want to see this pass rush get after it for sure. Bobby Wagner, blitzing as well. We got to manufacture pressure. This is a big game for Joe Witt Jr., big game for Cliff, obviously, but this is a really big game for Joe Witt Jr. to start and set the tone. Third down defense and tackle. We struggle to tackle. We didn't play a lot of our starters, but guys missed a lot of tackles. Like Carlin Vidgers, he's not going to play at all. He's on the practice squad. But guys were missing tackles. Last year in the beginning of the season, we missed a lot of tackles too. Coaching, as I always talk about, challenges. Dan Quinn did a great job of this. I'm so happy we have a way better coach than what we had before, because every time I had to say challenges, timeouts, clock management, 2-minute warnings, I don't really have to say that with Dan Quinn. And I love that with a passion. So let's keep it that way. Smart decisions with 2-minute warnings, clock management. When are you going to go for it on fourth down? When to kick a field goal, when not to, when to punt. Things like that, we don't have a problem with Dan Quinn. We had that big problem with the previous coach who's not here anymore. But I just don't have to say that with Dan. I don't have to say that with Dan, with Cliff. They're so confident in Jaden that if it's fourth down, they're automatically going to go for it for the most part. And I'm fine with that. Special teams. Special teams were awful in preseason. So Larry Izzo, like I said, he needs to look in the mirror. We had to tackle on special teams, and they Antonio Gibson had a good return. Travion Henderson had a great return for a touchdown. So how do we do in kickoff coverage? Matt Gay, how does he do kicking the football? He didn't do a great job of kickoffs. He didn't do a great job of making field goals. He was 2 for 4. Jalen Lane, I want to see him as a punt returner too. How does he do? Does he make the right decision, making a fair catch? Catching the football, of course, and just how explosive is he as a returner. Debo Samuel's going to be a returner as well. I think Luke McCaffrey is the other returner. So those are the things. Those are the little things. They're not little things, but those are the things that I'm definitely paying attention to. Special teams is going to be huge. All right, so let's get to my game prediction. I do have us winning this game. I have us winning like 27 to, it's either 27-20 or 27-21. I do think that the Giants are actually going to get to an early lead. I do feel like that's going to happen. I think they're going to get the ball first. They're going to score. But I think ultimately we just take the game over. I think it starts off like 7-0, something like that. Kind of like how the Cowboys-Eagles game was. Like the Cowboys scored first. I think the Giants score first. I think they actually may go up 10-0. And then we wake up in the second quarter and then we just start firing on all cylinders. Of course, we want to start fast and punch them in the mouth and get them out the way. But I feel like we win this game 27-21. It's a little bit of a scare because the Giants are super duper confident. They had a great preseason. We saw Jameis Winston and Jackson Dart joking around on the sidelines, and their vibes are very, very high. I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to lie to you because they have a lot of confidence right now. And a lot of people are picking them as a sleeper team. And I can see that. They do have a solid roster. Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton are really good receivers. I respect those guys a lot. Darius Slayton has gotten past our defense in the past for years. So we got to watch out for him. Wan'Dale Robinson is a good receiver as well. I want to see Mikey in the slot versus Wan'Dale. How does that matchup go too? Because that's a tough matchup. Wan'Dale Robinson is a good receiver. Theo Johnson's a good tight end. Daniel Bellinger's a solid backup tight end. Does Ben Sinnott get any touches? No Yak Zach. He's going to be big this game. He's going to be huge as always. Noah Brown forced a pass interference. I talked about that. Ben Sinnott, John Bates doing his thing as a blocker. So those are just some names that I want to talk about and just leave no stones unturned for sure. So, but that's all I got for you guys. Bobby Rickey, he's a solid linebacker too. So the Giants have a good team. They have a good team, man. So I got this one in 27-21. You guys let me know what you guys think. As always, everybody have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Health Commanders. Peace.